Our eyes see what's right in front of us, right? We see the vibrant colors, the distinct shapes, this whole physical world just unfolding right before us. It's an experience we completely take for granted. But have you ever actually stopped and thought about what we don't see? I mean, who perceives the hidden currents flowing just beneath the surface of everyday life? Today, we're going to explore a concept that is far more than just a word in a dictionary. It's a profound, almost hidden power. We're going to dive into the concept of eyesight, the immense power of insight.
Part 1. What is unseen? Moving beyond physical reality.
So, as the question goes, who sees what is not in front of us? We live in a world that is just entirely obsessed with the physical. If we can touch it, measure it, or see it, we automatically believe it to be the absolute truth. But honestly, relying only on what's physically visible, it's like looking at the cover of a massive book and arrogantly assuming you know every single detail of the story inside. Our physical eyes are incredible, highly evolved organs, sure, but at the end of the day, they're strictly limited to processing light bouncing off objects. They show us the surface. But beneath that visible, superficial layer, there is a completely hidden reality just waiting to be perceived. A reality made up of hidden motives, long-term consequences, and profound truths that the physical eye is entirely blind to.
Okay, let's get into Part 2, Sight and Insight, Awakening the Inner Eye.
To really wrap our heads around how we can access this hidden reality, let's look at this beautiful linguistic duality found in the Urdu language. First up, we have basarat, which simply means sight. This is the literal physical light of your eyes that you use to navigate the three-dimensional world every single day. But then, in stark contrast, we have basirat, or insight. This is the illuminating light of the heart and the mind. While basarat lets you see the world exactly as it appears right now, in this very second, basirat acts as your inner eye. It's this profound mental and spiritual ability that essentially pulls back the heavy curtains of time to reveal the ultimate outcome of any situation. It lets you see the absolute truth behind the facade.
Part 3. Great Decisions of History, the Role of Insight. Now, this concept isn't just abstract poetry, it's a highly practical tool. If you study the past closely, you'll realize something quite astonishing. The biggest secret of the greatest rulers, the most profound philosophers, and those legendary visionaries wasn't their massive armies, it wasn't their vast wealth, and it certainly was never just their raw brute power. I mean, swords rust and empires eventually crumble, right? The ultimate enduring key to the success of these legendary figures was actually their insight. It was their basirat that really allowed them to shape the world.
As the saying goes, their insight told them which decision is right for today and which will change the coming centuries. Just think about monumental leaders like Sultan Osman Ghazi, the brilliant founder of the Ottoman Empire, or other great historical titans. They didn't just fight battles for the sake of some immediate glory. They possessed that inner eye. They could literally feel the pulse of time itself. Their basirat guided them to make decisions that weren't just tactical for that specific Tuesday, you know? They were deeply strategic for generations to come. They were planting seeds for trees that would provide shade centuries after they were gone.
Which brings us to Part 4, The Need of Today, Insight in Modern Times.
You might be sitting there thinking, well, that's a fascinating story about ancient emperors, but what does this have to do with me? Honestly, this historical superpower is desperately needed right here, right now. Just look around us. We live in an era of absolute noise and severe information overload. Every single minute, we're just bombarded with endless data, totally conflicting opinions, and social media algorithms. Because of this overwhelming wave of content, figuring out what's right and what's wrong has become incredibly difficult. Becoming a sahib-e-basirat, a true master of insight, is arguably the single biggest necessity of our modern age. When the sheer volume of information threatens to completely bury the truth, you need that sharply developed inner eye to dig through the noise and find reality.
So how do we actually cultivate this power? It essentially breaks down into 3 clear pillars. The first one is foresight. This is the unique ability to sense what is going to happen before it actually occurs. And let's be clear, this isn't mystical magic. It's about actively observing patterns, it's deeply understanding human nature, and projecting the logical conclusion of today's actions into tomorrow's reality. It's basically playing chess while everyone else is stuck playing checkers.
This builds directly into the second pillar, discernment. This means deliberately standing apart from the crowd to recognize reality for what it truly is. And make no mistake, this requires immense courage. Human beings are biologically wired to follow the herd, to believe what everyone else believes just because it feels safe. But basirat demands that you step away from that comforting herd mentality. You have to be willing to look at a highly popular opinion, critically question it, and see the stark reality that the majority might be completely blind to.
Finally, we arrive at the third pillar, wisdom. This is the discipline of making decisions with your intellect rather than just getting carried away by a flood of emotions. In our fast-paced world, it is so incredibly easy to just react out of sudden anger, deep fear, or even blinding excitement. But a person who possesses true insight, they pause. They create a gap between the event and their reaction. They let the emotional wave pass over them, and they let the clear, cold light of the rational mind dictate their next strategic move.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to ask you to truly reflect on this. Don't just blindly trust your physical eyes anymore. Wake up your insight. The next time you're faced with a major life-altering decision, whether that's a pivot in your career, a turning point in your relationships, or whatever it is, you must remember this framework. Take a breath, pause, and realize that what is immediately visible isn't always the truth. In fact, it rarely is. Often, the real, lasting truth is something that can only be perceived when you open the eye of your insight.
Looking back through the pages of history, or even just looking at the people in your own daily life, who, in your view, possess true insight? Who is a real-life Sahib-e-Basirat to you? Think deeply about how they navigated the world. Please, share your thoughts and your specific examples down in the comments. Let's keep this fascinating conversation going and continue learning from each other. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. And remember, always keep your inner eye open.